Now on Sunrise, as people in areas hit by the weekend storms are continuing to clean up, weather officials are planning to do more surveys on what could be tornado damage. This as the region prepares for an active week of more storms. The Hardin County community continues to mourn the 2 teenagers killed in a crash. For crashes involving teenagers, Kentucky is one of the worst states in the country. We're breaking down the survey looking at the deadly trend. And March Madness will wrap up soon, but more people are betting on sports in Kentucky than ever before. Hear from officials about how you can do so responsibly. That's all ahead right now on Wave News Sunrise.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
Good morning and happy Tuesday to you. Thanks for starting it with us here on Sunrise. I'm Olivia Russell and for Shannon Kogan with meteorologist Tawana Andrew. A perfect week for people to be out of town and on spring break because we are stuck here dealing with all this weather.
Yeah, it's going to be a very active week, that's for sure, as we watch for more of these rounds of showers and thunderstorms coming our way. So let's talk about what we're going to be seeing as the week goes along. As of right now, we're just dealing with some clouds overhead, and we can see them pretty clearly on our storm tracker. We're just out and about on the roads right now, not dealing with much in terms of traffic, by the way, since a lot of people are out of town, as Olivia mentioned. We're watching the clouds clearing, still holding on still for many of you across Kentucky, while Indiana, you've seen clear skies for quite a while, and this is why those of you further to the north and west, you're sitting in the low 30s, while the rest of us are seeing upper 30s and low 40s for our current temperatures. Everybody, though, needs a jacket. Across the metro, seeing temperatures ranging from 32 degrees in Floyd's Knobs and into Sellersburg to 39 here at Wave News downtown, 37 for those of you in Fern Creek, and also into Simpsonville and Crestwood. Over the next 12 hours, we will watch those temperatures easily climbing into the upper 50s and low 60s for your highs, a mix of sun and clouds across the area. So overall, a very pleasant day. And we need it because as we look towards the rest of the week, we do have a flood watch in place from Wednesday all the way through Sunday for the entire region as we watch those rainfall totals adding up. On top of that, we have that potential for strong, severe storms in the forecast as well. An enhanced risk of severe weather for most of us on Wednesday, a slight risk on Thursday, and we are outlook for that potential for some strong storms for your Friday and Saturday as well. So a lot to watch for the end of the week in terms of severe weather and some flooding rain. I'll let you know how much rain we could see before the week is done in my full forecast.
Thanks, Tawana. We're continuing to get pictures and videos that paint the picture of how powerful Mother Nature can be. Sunday night storms came through, moving quickly and leaving behind a lot of destruction. The National Weather Service says 3 tornadoes touched down in our area. That includes one in Jefferson County, one in Spencer County, and one that traveled from Meade through North Hardin and into Bullitt County. Crews will be out again today looking for more signs that storms touched down while people dealing with damage are trying to figure out their next steps. The National Weather Service says an EF1 tornado tore through Louisville's Fairdale neighborhood. The storm brought 90-mile-per-hour winds, bringing down trees and sending sheds flying. We talked to one woman who had a close call after a massive tree crashed down in her backyard. She says she's just trying to focus on the positives.
I don't know what to do with all this. I called, made a claim on my insurance company. They told me 2 to 3 days. But I'm still thinking, you know, only thing that is wrong with my house is some gutter and roofing is gone. So that's just where I'm at with it. Like, I'm glad it's not my house.
Thankfully, there are no reports of deaths or injuries in Fairdale. Spencer County also dealing with damage from an EF1 tornado there. We met a woman who lives just up the road from where crews say it touched down. Emily Pittman and her family hunkered down in her parents' basement in Mount Eden. Time passed, and Pittman says they waited until they thought the worst of the storm had blown over to check on the effects. Pittman's 2-century-old home was spared the worst of the damage, but her neighbors not as lucky. The storm tore through the roof of the barn right down the middle, taking a pole and wheel with it.
All of a sudden, it was just big. It was terrifying, and it shook the house, and my daughter jumps up, and she's 3, and she goes, "Jesus is bowling." She goes, "He's silly. I'm going to have to tell him about that."
When a tornado warning was issued for the southwestern part of the county, Spencer County officials waited before activating the alert sirens. The sirens are supposed to go off immediately when a tornado warning comes in. That blaring sound can be the difference between life and death in severe weather. We talked with the Emergency Management Director, Robert Klingel-Smith, about his choice to wait. He was worried that the 25-year-old system would run out of battery power before the storm arrived. He says he doesn't think anyone was at risk.
I feel good that we delayed a little bit, but as the larger tornado warning came in, we were able to activate the sirens, and we were able to make sure that this larger population area of the county got a full notification by the tornado sirens at that time.
The problem is electricity. Only 3 of Spencer County sirens are hardwired to the grid in Taylorsville. The remaining 6 in rural areas depend on battery power. County officials have been discussing upgrades to the power supply along with the placement of the sirens. In Bullitt County, another EF1 tornado took down a large barn that was full of trailers. This was part of that tornado that started in Meade County before traveling to Bullitt. The NWS says 105-mile-per-hour winds brought down a barn on Beech Grove Road. That's 4 miles south of Shepherdsville. The barn was nearly split in half with debris falling on a horse trailer. Thankfully, again, no one was hurt. Indiana was also hit hard by those storms. Places in our area, Salem, New Albany, and Jeffersonville saw damage. In northern Indiana, powerful systems also brought down trees and ripped up buildings. 2 storm-related deaths are being reported in Indiana. In Valparaiso, police said a 34-year-old man died after a semi-truck and trailer were blown over. And in Elkhart County, National Weather Service said 1 person died when strong winds blew over an Amish buggy. In all, there were more than 300 storm reports for winds and hail in the state. And we have a busy couple of days this week in the forecast, so be sure to download the Wave Weather app and you can stay up to date on when severe weather moves through your area. It's free to download on your Apple and Android devices. Counselors are comforting Central Hardin High School students after 2 of their classmates were killed in a rollover crash. Now we're learning more about the boys and how they're being remembered. Gerald Lyons and Tristan Schroeder died after they were thrown out of a car on St. John Road early Saturday morning. Investigators are trying to figure out what caused the crash. 2 other teenagers were hurt in it. Hardin County School Superintendent says Lyons and Schroeder, both juniors, were incredible young men. The teens' friends say it will make things difficult not seeing them every day in the halls.
They were both such a bright light in Central Hardin. Tristan, he always had a smile on his face. It was almost like he never had a bad day. And Gerald was always just so funny and always had something quick to say, and he was just a beautiful person, both of them.
We're still waiting to learn exact funeral arrangements for both Lyons and Schroeder. Those deaths are part of some statewide statistics that show Kentucky leads the nation in teen driving fatalities. Wave News reporter Josh Ninke has more on the numbers and why advocates are calling on parents to do more. Josh.
Olivia, this is more of a conversation now that the Commonwealth lowered the age for teens to get their learner's permit from 16 to 15. That bill had an emergency clause and went into effect immediately. The state's website should reflect the changes by tomorrow at the very latest. So here are the numbers from the driving education platform Zootobi. Over the last 3 years, Kentucky had the most teen driving fatalities in the country. There were about 70 deaths per 100,000 teenage drivers. The next worst states are Wyoming and Arkansas. One of the reasons Kentucky is seeing so many fatalities is that teens just aren't wearing seatbelts. The group Arrive Alive Tour says 63% of teens killed in driving crashes are not buckled up, and AAA says that falls on us.
I think that as adults and as parents and grandparents, we're not taking on that responsibility of really mirroring good driving behavior and modeling that for kids. They learn even at a very young age before they even get close to being able to get their license.
Experts say that even though Kentucky's permit age is now 15, you should always make sure your child is ready for that kind of responsibility. If they are, you can schedule written knowledge and vision tests with Kentucky State Police. Reporting live, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Josh, thank you. A former LMDC officer and current police officer is behind bars after he was allegedly caught driving under the influence while on duty. Jay Burke is now a former officer for the Muldraugh Police Department. He responded to a call Thursday night with Police Chief Tim Jackson. However, Jackson said he smelled alcohol on Burke's breath and said he was clearly under the influence. Burke was taken to the station for questioning. He was also given a couple of blood alcohol tests, which came back at .07 and .09. The city of Muldraugh said Burke has been suspended without pay. The case was handed over to Kentucky State Police and the Meade County Sheriff's Office to investigate. Well, our area doesn't have any teams vying for the big NCAA championship title, but March Madness has a lot of eyes on sports, and with that comes sports betting. With the ability to wager at people's fingertips, experts say it can be easier to develop a problem. The Kentucky Center for Problem Gambling says watching a game can be easily finding a variety of things to bet on. They say the ease makes it much more of an addictive process. The center says during March Madness, the number of gambling increases significantly. Tournament games usually attract people to take a riskier approach to gambling, where they don't consider leaving money for rent and groceries.
Look at betting like it's a night of entertainment. How much is it going to cost to go out to eat and maybe go to a movie or something else?
Experts say the best way to be a safe gambler is to limit yourself to a certain amount, and if you lose, don't try and gamble to get it back. Here's Tawana with a look at the next 12 hours.
And as we head over the next 12, we're going to be seeing a mix of sun and clouds across the region, with highs in the upper 50s and the low 60s. So overall, a very pleasant day, a quiet day before we have to deal with more wind, rain, and eventually that chance for strong to severe storms. We'll let you know when we'll see all of that on the other side of the break.
Thanks, Tawana. It's 6:10 now, and today is April Fool's Day. And as people celebrate, a psychologist is highlighting some of the mental health benefits of laughter. That's still ahead on Sunrise.
Now, Wave News.
Sometimes all it takes is a good joke to turn our day around. And on this April Fool's Day, Cleveland Clinic psychologist Kia-Ray Pruitt explains why laughter can truly be the best medicine. Dr. Pruitt says turning to laughter can help us deal with some of the day-to-day stress we face. That's because enjoying a joke can release feel-good chemicals in our brains, giving our mood an overall boost. She says embracing laughter and not taking everything so seriously can be freeing for our mental health. Humor may also help us get through tough times and find a more positive outlook in difficult situations. It can be a means to connect with others as well.
It's really just a good way to enjoy company with other people when you find something mutual that you can laugh about. Now, of course, you don't want to laugh at anyone else's expense, but if there's a shared joke or something that most people would find funny, and you've got someone that you can share that with, it really can be a good way to connect with someone.
Although laughter may come more naturally for some, Dr. Pruitt stresses that's not the case for everyone. She says it's important to find ways to tap into your sense of humor, whether that's watching a funny movie or going to a comedy show, or in some cases telling just really bad jokes. Tawana, I know you said you have another bad joke, but let's not get the bad joke started, because you know our editor Lee will come in here and make it just walk away. They're so bad. They're just really bad. You can't encourage them.
He is good with dad jokes, but here's my joke for you. What's the difference between weather and climate?
I'm stumped.
You can't weather a tree, but you can climb it.
I'm not encouraging it. I'm not encouraging it. It's better than the hurricane one, though. I'll give you credit on that one.
Okay. I just got a lot of bad weather jokes today. I'm loving it. Those of you heading out for today, though, we were talking about quiet conditions, high pressure fully in control across the region as we're watching those clouds slowly but surely moving out of our area. Still holding on, though, across Kentucky. The storm tracker out on the roads right now, thankfully, if you're heading out, you really don't have much weather-wise to contend with. The big thing is just the chilly temperatures that we have across the area. A little bit colder for those of you in southern Indiana because you've had those clearer skies longer than everyone else. This is why you're in the low 30s, while the rest of us are in the upper 30s and the low 40s. But everybody's still going to need the jacket. As we continue throughout the day today, we're going to see a mix of sun and clouds across the area with highs in the upper 50s and the low 60s. Once we head into tonight, we'll watch clouds increasing across the region, not as cold as this morning, dropping down into the 40s and the low 50s. As we look ahead, we do have quite a bit of rain in our forecast. This is why we have alert days in place for basically the rest of the week. We also have a flood watch in place for the entire region from Wednesday all the way into your Sunday morning. Now, let me break down why we have all of these alert days showing up in the forecast. So starting tomorrow, going to be watching for some strong wind across wave country. Once we get into the afternoon tomorrow, we could see wind gusts near 45 miles per hour. Keep in mind, as we head throughout most of tomorrow, it is going to be quiet. We can see a couple of isolated showers around sunrise on Wednesday morning. That's really it. We'll be dry through a good chunk of the afternoon, but as we get closer to about 4 or 5 o'clock, this is when we could start to see some scattered showers and thunderstorms firing up. Now, some of these could be on the stronger side, but that severe threat starts to increase the further into the evening we go. Really watching that time frame between 8 p.m. on Wednesday night through 4 a.m. on Thursday morning for some of the strongest storms to be moving into our region as that line of showers and thunderstorms starts to make its way into and through wave country. We do have an enhanced risk, a level 3 out of 5 risk of severe weather for the majority of our area for your Wednesday. For those of you further to the south, you have a slight risk, but it doesn't matter where you are. We're still keeping an eye on that potential for damaging winds, some hail, heavy rain, and also watching that tornado threat yet again. We head into your Thursday, and the same front that's moving in Wednesday night to Thursday morning will still be around, and because of that, we're going to keep that potential for some strong to severe storms, especially in areas south of that front. Now, doesn't mean that if you're north of that front, you don't have something to watch for. No, you have to keep an eye on the rounds of heavy rain that will remain in your forecast for those of you along and north of the front as we get into your Thursday. Now, in terms of Thursday's severe threat, with that front still around, we have a slight risk of severe weather across the entire region. The threats are the same: damaging winds, heavy rain, the potential for some tornadoes across parts of wave country. Now, keep in mind, we'll be watching the rest of the week as well, because Friday and Saturday are outlooked for that potential for some strong severe storms. But as we get further into the week, the focus kind of shifts a little bit. Yes, we'll still see a lot of that heavy rain, and we see that potential for some stronger storms, especially for those of you south of the front, but we'll also have to keep an eye on all of those rounds of rain and those rainfall totals really starting to add up. Once that area of low pressure finally drifts through Wednesday night, your Saturday night, into Sunday, this is when we'll finally see some drier weather coming back into our forecast. But I mentioned that flood watch in place all the way into the end of the weekend, because we could see around 7 to 10 inches of widespread rainfall. Yes, there is that chance for some of you to see higher totals than that, which means not only are we dealing with that potential for flash flooding, but creeks, rivers, streams will all start to rise, and we can even see impacts along the Ohio River as we get towards the weekend too. So a lot to keep an eye on for the rest of this week. And after some quiet conditions for the first half of next week, we do see some more showers and thunderstorms returning to the forecast by next Thursday.
President Donald Trump promises to enact new tariffs on several products this week. Trump has repeatedly called tomorrow Liberation Day. The White House press secretary says Trump will reveal his plans to place reciprocal tariffs on nearly all American trading partners. Economists stress that broad tariffs could backfire and raise prices on several products. President Trump says tariffs will free the U.S. from reliance on foreign goods.
They're reciprocal. So whatever they charge us, we charge them, but we're being nicer than they were. We have a lot of countries, friend and foe. I always say friend and foe, but the friend in many cases is worse than the foe. They took advantage of us, and we are going to be very nice by comparison to what they were. The numbers will be lower than what they've been charging us.
The administration says it expects to raise $100 billion in revenue from the tariffs. President Trump signed an executive order that targets price gouging for ticket resales in the entertainment industry. Kid Rock appeared alongside the president for the White House ceremony. The executive order directs the Federal Trade Commission to work with the Attorney General to ensure competition laws are enforced in concert and entertainment industries. It also demands ticket sellers are transparent so customers understand what they're buying, including any fees. Price gouging gained attention during Taylor Swift's Eras tour, when resale tickets to her shows cost tens of thousands of dollars. And I just bought some Jonas Brothers tickets. So, yeah, we want some cheaper tickets out there in the world.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Especially as a Beyonce fan, I know you're thinking that.
Yeah. Not going to go to Cowboy Carter because some of us have to save money, but it's fine. Heading out for today, we are seeing temperatures going to be climbing into the upper 50s and low 60s. We do get quite a bit of sunshine today, so we'll enjoy it, especially as we have a lot of active weather coming our way. Now for tomorrow, windy with some scattered storms popping up for the afternoon and into the evening, and then once we get into Wednesday night, that is when that severe threat starts to increase across the area. We'll keep that potential for strong severe storms in the forecast for parts of your Thursday, parts of Friday, even into parts of Saturday. Now with multiple rounds of heavy rain in the forecast from Wednesday all the way into Saturday, we could see a flooding threat become more of an issue as the week goes along. So rivers, creeks, streams are gradually going to rise as the week goes along. We could see around 7 to 10 inches of widespread rainfall before we end everything on Sunday. Now next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday still looking pretty quiet as of right now, but then we'll see that warm up for next Thursday as more rain moves our way.
Thanks, Tawana. Fund for the Arts is preparing for this year's Spring into Derby Art Market. It's happening at Paristown's Christie's Garden on Saturday, April 19th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There will be performances from local artists and arts organizations, including music, dancing, and theatrical arts on stage and craft activities off stage. You can check out the full lineup for Celebration of the Arts online. It's 6:26 now, and a new scammer is impersonating a Kentucky credit union. We'll tell you what to look out for to avoid becoming a victim. That's next on Wave News Sunrise.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
Good Tuesday morning to you, hanging out in the Weather Center where Tawana, you're saying enjoy today because you're not going to enjoy the rest of the week.
Yeah, later on this week we'll be talking about a lot of wind, a lot of rain, some strong severe storms coming back into the forecast.
Oh boy.
And that is going to last all the way into the weekend. So
it's going to be a long week.
It's going to be a long week.
Buckle up.
So yeah, prepare for it. What we're seeing right now, though, quiet conditions, clearing skies across the area. So a pretty decent start to the day. Now with these clearing skies, our temperatures have started to drop a little bit more in some spots. And for some of you in Indiana, you are near the freezing mark to start off the day. 31 in North Vernon, 32 in Paoli, 31 as well in Tell City. The rest of us further to the south where the clouds have been lingering a little bit longer are still in the upper 30s and the low 40s. Everybody, though, grab the sweater or the jacket. You're going to need it. Once we head into the afternoon, we will return to those upper 50s and your low 60s for your highs, a mix of sun and clouds across the area. So a nice, quiet, calm day in the forecast. And then we have alert days in place from Wednesday all the way into your Saturday. For tomorrow, we start off with the wind picking up and some gusts near 45 miles per hour. Then as we get into the overnight Wednesday into your Thursday, we see that potential for some severe weather. And we're watching that severe threat on and off all the way into the upcoming weekend. And flooding becomes more of a threat as the week goes along because we can easily see those totals climbing to near 10 inches of rainfall before the week is done, and that is in terms of widespread rain across parts of Wave Country. I'll talk a little bit more about the severe threats coming our way starting tomorrow night in my full forecast.
All right, we'll make sure we're ready for that. Thanks, Tawana. Kentucky's online system should be ready for 15-year-olds to apply for learner's permits by tomorrow. It's part of a new law that went into effect immediately after it was signed last week. A recent study is reminding parents to make sure their teenagers are ready for that responsibility behind the wheel. Wave News reporter Josh Ninke has more on the numbers. Josh?
Olivia, this is from a study released last year by the driving education platform Zootobi. Their numbers say Kentucky had the most teen driving fatalities in the country for the last 3 years. There were about 70 deaths per 100,000 teenage drivers. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet also says over these last 3 years, Kentucky saw more than 47,000 crashes involving teen drivers. 210 of those were fatal. The next worst states are Wyoming and then Arkansas. One of the main reasons that these crashes turned fatal is teens aren't wearing seatbelts. In fact, 2 teens in Hardin County were just killed in a crash over the weekend when they were ejected from their car.
Life is just so fragile, and as kids, like, we think like we're invincible, and we're really not. It's just so fragile.
2 other juvenile passengers were also injured in that crash. Hardin County Sheriff's Office is still investigating what caused the crash. Now, officials are reminding parents that even though 15-year-olds can now get their permit, it doesn't mean they have to. Make sure they're ready and make sure that you are setting a good example. Live in the studio, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Very important. Thank you, Josh. In Nelson County, a 72-year-old man died after his car was found submerged in a creek. It happened during the storms on Sunday night. He's been identified as Gregory Phipps. Police say his car was spotted around 11:30 Sunday night in a pond on Chaplin Road. That's just outside of Bloomfield. By the time emergency crews got there, the car was nearly underwater. Firefighters used a boat to try to get to it, but the car sank. A dive team later realized that Phipps was still inside. Even though it happened during the storms, the coroner says his death wasn't related to the weather.
And according to the medical examiner this morning, after the autopsy, his injuries and conditions supported that of having a medical condition before he landed in the pond.
The coroner responded to 2 other deaths during the storms, but they were both natural and not related to the weather. In Scott County, severe storms caused damage to a church in Georgetown. Members of Faith Baptist Church tried to clear up parts of the debris. On Sunday, the church served as an emergency shelter ahead of the severe weather, but some of the members say they went home around 11 p.m. Scott County EMA called about the damage just 30 minutes later.
Well, it's a shock when you first see something like this. We were hoping that the damage would be minimal, and it appears that everything is on the outside. It does not appear at this point that we have any inside damage, so thankful for that.
Scott County EMA said this was the only place in the county that reported damage from Sunday night storms. The damage is mainly external and will need professional repairs, but the church members expect to be back in service this Sunday. In Floyd County, people are rebuilding once again. High wind damaged the Board of Education's office. The district says the roof of the gym was completely blown off, but the good news is that no one was hurt.
We have a roofing company here just going to patch the roof at least until we can repair it to keep the water off the gym floor. We lost some bleachers, a lot worse than here, but this is just adding on to what we're already dealing with.
The Disaster Recovery Center was also damaged. A mobile recovery center will take its place for now. FEMA is still open for flood victims. They're operating out of a mobile truck in front of Floyd County Schools' central office. And if you don't have the free Wave weather app, make sure you download it. There are still several chances for severe weather this week and several alert days coming up too. You can customize your notifications so the app will automatically alert you to rain, lightning, and severe weather near your location. A heads up, scammers are at it once again. This time, they're impersonating a credit union. The most recent incident is what's known as a call forwarding scam. It allows fraudsters to redirect calls and texts and give them access to your accounts. The Commonwealth Credit Union says they were able to save one of their customers from losing about $27,000. Workers say they were suspicious and declined the request.
They sometimes can create such a fear in somebody and seem so legit. We do the exact same diligence and the exact same validation, whether somebody is looking to, transfer or move $200 versus, $200,000.
If you get a call from someone saying they're with the Commonwealth Credit Union, you should hang up, then call the number listed on their website. That number is 502-564-4775. The CEO of Yum Brands says he will retire next year. David Gibbs has been with the Louisville-based company for 36 years. He served as CEO for more than 5. Gibbs announced he will retire during the first quarter of 2026. Yum's board of directors said Gibbs had a transformative impact on the company during his time at the helm. Gibbs says he'll continue to lead the company as they search for a new CEO. Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky kicked off Child Abuse Prevention Month by launching a new initiative. It's called 120 Counties in 120 Days. The organization plans to visit every county in Kentucky during that time frame to promote awareness and prevention. They're also getting a $50,000 donation from WellCare of Kentucky for the campaign.
The support is key to prevention. It's the most powerful tool that we have to break the cycle of abuse.
We want to work with our partners, long-standing and new, to ensure that families are aware of resources they can access in their communities.
The annual planting of the 3,000 pinwheels for prevention that cover the front lawn of the state capitol kicked off Child Abuse Prevention Month. Each of those pinwheels represents 17 children born in Kentucky just last year. Here's Tawana taking a look at the next 12.
And for your what to wear forecast today, we are talking about the jacket and the sunglasses because, yes, we're starting off today with temperatures in the 30s for most of us. We'll end up, though, in the upper 50s and low 60s with some sunshine around for the majority of the day. As you look ahead, you are going to need the rain gear, and you're going to need it for basically the rest of the week. I'll let you know how much rain we could see before the weekend is done after the break.
Well, it is baseball season, and one JCPS team is leaning into its fans in the stands to help them in a different way this year. Meet the boys of the W.E.B. Du Bois varsity baseball team. Corbin Hodges has been with the team for 3 seasons and says this is the first year they actually get to practice on a regulation-sized field. Beachmont Youth Sports has offered up their field for the boys to practice. JCPS is considering building a diamond on their new campus set to open for the 2026-27 school year. Corbin says he notices the difference a proper field makes because they've already won 5 games this season, and that's 4 more than last year's total. One player's mom even agrees and has started a GoFundMe to help fund their baseball dreams.
If these guys have what some of these other programs have, and there's no question about it, this team's unstoppable.
I think that has a ripple effect of hope that can really be transformative, not just for this team, but for our entire city.
The team has already been able to get new game balls and new team helmets thanks to the generosity from others. At last check, they're about $500 shy of their GoFundMe total. We have a link to that and the team's schedule on this story on our website, wave3.com. But that is huge, just being able to practice on a field, because that's the difference between errors and clean plays and just getting the job done out there.
I love that. Yeah. So the community can come together to help them and help them thrive, because you know, that's what we need.
Exactly. They're talented. They just need that extra help there.
Yeah, and I know a lot of kids are on spring break as of right now, and right now is the time to enjoy that break. It is. We have some strong storms coming our way. I'll talk about that in just 30 seconds.
They're always on.
We've seen it from the SkyTrack cameras, keeping an eye to the sky. A lot of lightning with these storms.
Watching the skies where you are.
Outside, here's the view from New Albany.
And all across Wave Country.
We scan the skies with all 10 of our SkyTrack cameras.
Available anytime on air, online, and the Wave News app. The Wave Storm Tracking Team's SkyTrack network of cameras. Sponsored in part by BJ Heating and Cooling. Call the experts you can trust. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with a check of your forecast, and yeah, we're keeping an eye on the calm weather for today before things get really active later on this week. It's high pressure that's hanging out with us as of right now. This is why we have the calm weather, the quiet weather in today's forecast. We're also watching the clouds gradually clearing, still holding on though for those of you across portions of Kentucky, while areas further to the north and west are seeing those clearer skies. And the storm tracker out and about on the roads is still dark, it's still early, but once that sun comes up in a little less than an hour, we are going to get to enjoy a whole lot of sunshine. So the only thing that may slow you down just a bit for your morning commute, for those of you heading out, will be the chilly temperatures, as the majority of us are now sitting in the 30s. A little bit colder for those of you further to the north in southern Indiana, just because you've had the clearer skies longer than everyone else. As we continue throughout the rest of the day, we're talking about that mix of sun and clouds in the forecast, with highs today in the upper 50s and the low 60s. Then as we head into tonight, we'll watch clouds increasing across our area, not as cold, falling down into those 40s and the low 50s for tomorrow morning. We have a flood watch in place across the entire area. It goes from Wednesday all the way into Sunday because of the amount of rain that is coming into our forecast. The alert day is going to kick off tomorrow afternoon and last all the way into Saturday as we deal with all of the rounds of rain and multiple chances for strong to severe storms. We start everything off, though, Wednesday afternoon with some strong wind gusts. We're talking wind gusts for the second half of your Wednesday near 45 miles per hour. That really is going to help with the warming trend, despite the fact that we are going to be looking at some clouds overhead for the majority of the day. Still looking at highs tomorrow in the upper 70s and the low 80s. A few spotty showers are possible for Wednesday morning with some areas of drizzle. We'll stay mainly dry as we get towards lunch and as we get into your Wednesday afternoon. This is when we can see some of those scattered thunderstorms starting to pop across parts of wave country. We'll really have to keep an eye on the ones around for the late afternoon and evening, because those really could be on the strong to severe side, and we'll watch for the line of thunderstorms racing in after about 8 p.m. Going to keep an eye on this threat as well. Now, keep in mind, the majority of us underneath an enhanced risk of severe weather, level 3 out of 5. The rest of us further to the south under level 2 out of 5, that slight risk. But the threats are the same for everyone. Damaging wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. We're talking about that potential for some hail and some more of those isolated tornadoes across wave country. That's just for Wednesday and the Thursday morning. Now, since that front will move in for early Thursday morning, it's going to hover with us throughout the rest of your Thursday. This will keep that potential for some additional strong severe storms as we get into your Thursday night and then Friday morning. We'll keep an eye on that front lingering into the second half of your Friday and all the way into Saturday too. We have a slight risk of severe weather across the entire region for your Thursday. Damaging winds, hail, isolated tornadoes continue to be threats. We head into your Friday. I mentioned that front just sticking around. This is why we'll keep that chance for some strong storms here and there for Friday and Saturday. But the main concern that we have for the end of the weekend into the weekend will be the consistent rounds of rain in our forecast. We don't fully dry out until Sunday. So even if we get some breaks in between each round of showers and thunderstorms, we could still see around 7 to 10 inches of rainfall across wave country. And with that, significant flooding and potentially life-threatening flooding are going to be concerns. So if you live near a creek, a stream, now is that time to make sure you're prepared for that water starting to rise. And we could even see impacts along the Ohio River as we get into the upcoming weekend. And that may linger towards thunder in terms of the Great Lawn and the banks of the Ohio being a little bit more muddy and a little bit still covered in water by that time frame. Towards next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to be talking some cool temperatures, some sunshine around. But by next Thursday, yeah, here we go again. Some more rain in the forecast then.
All right. Thanks, Tawana. The Floyd County Commissioners are considering an agreement to remove the Blackiston Mill Dam on Silver Creek. Our partners at the News and Tribune say the Blackiston Mill Road Bridge has remained closed since the dam partially collapsed in early February. The Floyd County Commissioners will consider an agreement with Ecosystems Connections Institute to serve as a consultant on the dam removal. That meeting is tonight at 6 at Pineview Government Center. Former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knowles' historic riverfront mansion in Jeffersonville has sold for $635,000. The money will be held by the court until a judge determines how to split up the restitution payments. The Knowles bought the mansion for $699,000 back in 2022. State police tracked appliances to this property that has been paid for by funds stolen from New Chapel EMS. The Knowles Florida home is also up for sale. Jamie Knowles' lawyers asked the judge that the house be put up for auction. A judge will discuss that action next week in court. The Louisville Free Public Library is linking where people recently incarcerated have a criminal record with resources to re-enter into society. They're hosting a re-entry resource fair at the Southwest Regional Library location on Dixie Highway. That event is happening on Saturday, April 12th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. There will be resources at this event to help people with criminal records try to transform their futures. Assistance support includes job prep, hands-on workshops, health screenings, and technology training. The event is free, and free childcare will be provided too. Now let's take a look at the big stories we're following today around the country and the world. In Maryland, jury selection begins in the high-profile case of Victor Martinez Hernandez. He's charged with killing Rachel Morin in a hiking trail in 2023. The case has gotten national attention because the man charged was an undocumented migrant. It's also raised questions about finding jurors and keeping them away from publicity. Martinez Hernandez is also accused of killing a woman in his native El Salvador. Today, Florida holds two special elections to replace two former Republican congressmen, Reps Matt Gaetz and Michael Waltz. Gaetz resigned from Congress after Trump nominated him to be Attorney General, but he later withdrew from consideration following ongoing scrutiny over a federal sex trafficking probe. Waltz resigned in January to become White House National Security Advisor, now in the hot seat for adding a journalist to a Signal app group chat discussing military plans. Democratic Senator Cory Booker is expected to continue his speech on the Senate floor today. He began the speech last night. The senator said the nation is in a crisis and he plans to disrupt the normal business of the Senate for as long as he's physically able. We'll be right back with more of your local headlines, including our Wake Up Watch list right after this. 6:54 now. We're following today's top stories in your Wake Up Watch list. Sunday night storms came through, moving quickly and leaving destruction behind. The National Weather Service says 3 tornadoes touched down in our area. That includes one in Jefferson County, one in Spencer County, and one that traveled from Meade through North Hardin and into Bullitt. Crews will be out again today looking for more signs that the storms touched down. Scammers are impersonating a Kentucky credit union. The most recent incident is what's known as a call forwarding scam. It allows fraudsters to redirect calls and texts and give them access to your accounts. If you get a call from someone saying they're with the Commonwealth Credit Union, you should hang up immediately. And the 151st Kentucky Derby is just around the corner, and today will kick off a 2-week auction for more than 300 items from Derby's past. Those include things like autographed items from Triple Crown jockeys, mint julep glasses from decades past, and a Derby program from more than 100 years ago. Bidding ends on April 15th. Here's Tawana taking a look outside.
And what we have going on right now, clouds trying to clear across the region. The storm tracker has been traveling through downtown Louisville. You can see the first bits of sunlight there over the horizon. A beautiful start to the day. Now, our temperatures are mainly in the 30s, so grab that jacket. You're going to need it. Once you get into the afternoon, highs in the upper 50s and low 60s. Also, make sure you have the sunglasses because we're going to be seeing a mix of sun and clouds as the day goes along. Now, looking ahead to the next 10 days, do not forget, we have alert days starting tomorrow, lasting all the way through Saturday as we watch for the threat of severe weather, and we're also keeping an eye on quite a bit of rain. I'm talking more than half a foot of rain in the forecast for the end, by the time we reach the end of this week. And we'll even keep some of those rain chances around into Sunday, too. The first half of next week is quiet, and then we'll add in some more rain by next Thursday. A quick look at your roads, by the way. Things are quiet. I mean, JCPS is out, so this is to be expected. It says you're heading out this morning, a lighter commute in your forecast.
Definitely helps things. I mean, and the parents, then they don't have to drop off the kids at school or go to work because a lot of them left town.
Good news for everybody.
Yeah, right. And a perfect week to leave town, too.
Yeah, so have the weather app ready to go so we can watch for all those storms coming our way.
All right. Thanks, Tawana. And thanks so much for joining us. Hope you have a great Tuesday.
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigations, podcasts, and more, all for free with Wave Now. Sponsored by Menards. Save big money at Menards.